Good morning, good afternoon or good evening, depending on what time of day you've been kind enough to watch this video. My name is John Rees. I'm the chiropractor at Ilkley Chiropractic Clinic, and this clinic has been here since we moved to Ilkley in 2003. So we're now moving into our 20th year of serving the people of Ilkley and the surrounding area. The topic of the conversation today relates to the appropriate number of treatments a patient should receive when they visit a chiropractor. Some chiropractors wish to treat a patient 3 times a week initially, others twice. Clearly, we're talking about patients who first present to a chiropractor, not those who've had treatment before and are coming back for maintenance care, which is often quite an important consideration for a patient. In my 20 years of treatment and being a chiropractor, I can only think of 3, maybe 4 occasions when I've treated someone more than twice a week, and they've been very particular circumstances, and thus for new patients initially I will only see someone twice a week. The reason for this is very important. It's very clinical. We are obviously treating and working on sensitive tissue, damaged tissue, injured tissue, painful tissue, and although we may increase the level of pain for a short period of time whilst we're treating, particularly in the early onset of treatments, it is important that we allow time for the tissue to recover before we treat you again. And therefore seeing someone twice a week, let's say on a Monday and a Thursday or a Tuesday and a Friday, is very appropriate. Seeing someone 3 times a week, let's say on a Monday, Wednesday and Friday, does not give sufficient time for the tissue to heal. In addition, it is an added cost to you which hasn't been proven from my experience to be beneficial to you or to the patient. Oftentimes chiropractors who advocate 3 treatments a week are also looking to book their patients for a block number of treatments, say 30 or 40 treatments at one go, and make a contractual agreement with you at the initial onset. Personally, I find that very unnecessary and actually quite unprofessional, because again, I cannot think of any occasion when it has been necessary to treat a patient for that length of time without appropriate resolution to their condition. If you haven't got a patient 40 to 50% better after 6 to 8 treatments, then you really need to reconsider what you have diagnosed the patient with, and you may then need to consider taking or undertaking other investigations. And when I say other investigations, I'm talking about something like an X-ray, which chiropractors are known and are trained to do. And that is one of the main differences between a chiropractor and an osteopath, in that chiropractors are trained to take X-rays and to read X-rays. But that training does not necessarily mean that we must use that skill at all times. Those chiropractors who advocate X-raying a patient on the initial consultation are, in my opinion, illustrating to the patient their lack of professional skill and knowledge, because if you have been well trained, then in the initial consultation, when you take a detailed history and you undertake a detailed examination, which is resultant from your working diagnosis, which you get immediately at the time you take a good history, you will come up with a working diagnosis, and therefore you will be able to treat that patient based on that working diagnosis. If you decide that you want your patient to have an X-ray, first off, what you're actually saying to the patient, in my opinion, is that, sorry, my knowledge isn't good enough not to need an investigation. I don't seem to be able to put all the pieces together without an investigation. If that is the case, then I think one should perhaps be slightly concerned at the nature of the individual that one is consulting. And it is quite a cost to incur to have an X-ray taken, and it's also, although it is only a small dosage of radiation, it is a dose of radiation which in most cases is not required. If, of course, after a number of treatments things aren't progressing, then it may well be that one has need for investigation, and therefore referral for X-ray is important. But it is not a prerequisite at all to have an x-ray at an initial consultation, and I think certain people do it because patients believe that it shows a greater knowledge or a greater experience person. In actual fact, when you think about it, it shows less. So in conclusion, I would query quite seriously someone who's asking you to pay for 30 treatments up front, who is proposing to x-ray you at initial consultation, and is proposing that you come to see them for 3 times a week for the initial treatments. I've been in practice for 21 years, 20 in this time. I have seen over 6,500 new patients and in excess of 70 or 75,000 treatments, and I have not found any need to see someone more than twice a week for the initial consultations, and it is very rare that you actually do need to refer or undertake an x-ray on a patient. So be cautious, and if you want any further information, please feel free to consult us here at Ilkley Chiropractic Clinic. You'll see our contact details on the frontispiece of this video or on the end of the video. Thank you for your time listening, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye bye.